Hey, we're back here on Sports 225, and I'm joined by my partner, Cade Voisin, so that can only mean one thing: high school football right around the corner. Cade, what have you done in the off-season to prepare yourself for this, the rigors of Sports 225 in the prep segment?
A couple of weeks in Biloxi on the beach, a couple of hours producing great radio at 104.5 ESPN. But honestly, football season, jamborees this week, LSU a week away, Saints about 2 or 3 weeks away. It really doesn't get too much better than this time of year. It's our favorite time of year.
We're really excited to be here for the entire high school season to give you our prep segment every single week. We'll be talking about the teams in the Baton Rouge area and how they're doing. Cade, a little bit of a disappointing run in the playoffs for Baton Rouge last year, but hope springs eternal as you come back. School's been open and everybody's back and ready to hit the fields. We're going to start and go through every single classification here around the Baton Rouge area, talk about some teams to watch and maybe some dark horse teams. And we'll start in the 5A classification. Obviously, Dutchtown is where we're going to start. That's a team that inexplicably lost in the first round last year. They lose their all-star in Landon Collins, but it's still a team to look for.
Yeah, very strong regular season, as we always talked about throughout the last year. They lose Landon Collins, but I think Coach Benisea really has a loaded team again this year. Wide receiver Shelby Christie, and was a guy who will probably be coming up on the recruiting radar quite a bit. On the defensive side, David Elias. Quarterback Mason Nickens gets another year of experience under his belt. I really think Dutchtown will not only contend for a district title, but will make a stronger push in the postseason this year other than a 1-and-out.
Yeah, just really tough to replace a guy like Landon Collins, but like you mentioned, Shelby Christie, he's a guy that's committed to Mississippi State. LSU just didn't quite have room for him. I think he wanted to go to LSU, but Mississippi State's going to use him. He's going to be a factor there, and then we'll move along to Denham Springs, another team with a lot of loaded, a lot of prospects and a really good roster.
Yeah, Denham Springs coach Drew Nettles last year got really hurt by injuries early on, especially Caleb Blanchard. But I think what it did was allowed some of the younger guys, as we'll see in other situations. In high school, you graduate a couple of guys. We'll talk about maybe Episcopal down the road. They lost a lot of talent. How do you replace the guys who started for so long? But in the instance of Denham, they had some injuries, got some guys with some really good experience, like running backs Anthony Bracey, Justin Martin, guys who will kind of be stepping up. And then Caleb Blanchard is back healthy. The key for them, staying healthy and getting through the season on the defensive side, Tevin Lawson, a guy, and also an offensive guard to watch. You can tell me if I'm wrong. You're the recruiting guy. John Henderson, 6'6", 340. So if these running backs are going to have some protection to get and move down the field, this guy I think will be one to watch.
In high school, when you're 6'6", 340, you can do just about whatever you want. You mentioned Tevin Lawson's an LSU commitment, a defensive tackle. Caleb Blanchard's committed to Arkansas to play running back. There's a couple of SEC players on a 5A roster. That's a team certainly to look out for. And you got a couple of teams maybe a little bit under the radar here in 5A that people in Baton Rouge need to take a look at.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what year 2 will be under the head coaching of Paul Bourgeois at East Ascension. They had a hot start last year, maybe kind of fizzled out towards the end. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they'll do. Catholic High, who was a team that missed the playoffs last year, is a rare miss for the postseason not being there. Had a chance to get a share of the district title, oddly enough, in the last game of the season against Dutchtown. But I think with the team kind of battling through some younger guys, Zach Oliver no longer being there, moving around with quarterbacks, I expect them to kind of move up a little bit. And I'm very interested in seeing what Central does, having Sid Edwards going through his second stint there as head coach.
A lot to look for in the 5A area, a lot of really good football, but we'll transition quickly over to 4A. Talk about a couple of teams here in Lutcher and St. Michael. First, Lutcher.
Yeah, Lutcher is going to replace 14 starters, Hunt. So there's another school who is looking to try to move guys into a leadership role, a starting role. Daniel Taylor, the running back we talked so much about last year, is out, but you got quarterback Rustin Mathern, you've got wide receiver Sully Martin to watch for, guys who were leaders last year, another solid year under their belt, and I think they're going to pick up their game.
Yeah, Lutcher's a team that doesn't have a lot of top prospects. You talked about Daniel Taylor they had last year, obviously Jarvis Landry the year before that. Not a ton of on the recruiting front for Lutcher, but they're a team that's always got a ton of talent, always got a ton of kids out there for football, so they should be a team to watch for sure. St. Michael going through a little bit of transition, but they should be a pretty solid club. Yeah,
St. Michael lost Dash Duncan, who went down to Nichols, and now you got Brandon Fields. I think what Brandon Fields benefits is that when Dash got out last year late in the regular season, was hurt for the postseason, he got some play. Now, they didn't make it past that early round. But I think Brandon is a guy who was able to kind of get baptized by fire, so to speak, and he will have an advantage going into this season over there at St. Michael.
And we'll look to a team that's going to be a little bit under the radar here, and you like Port Allen.
I definitely like Port Allen. I think, for Port Allen, they returned 12 starters. That's an advantage for them. Coming off their best season in school history with a 10-3 record, the first ever quarterfinal appearance for head coach Guy Blanchard and the Pelicans over there. So I really think, bringing guys who have that experience of going into the postseason, knowing how to handle that, I think it's going to be big. Their schedule is favorable early. You get in district play, you got some tough games. St. Charles, obviously, in that mix, Bruley in that mix, but I think Port Allen will be a team to watch.
5A down, 4A down, 3A down. We'll do 2A and 1A right after this when we come back here on Sports 225.